Welcome back, ladies. If you are new here, my name is Valencia and I'm a certified image consultant, better known as the style educator. I help women that are confused about how to dress get the wardrobe and image solutions that they desire. So, with that being said, I am super excited about today's video. If you are connected to me on Instagram, I did um, I would say like a small kind of like teaching on this. I posted this on my stories and I knew right then and there that I wanted to do a full video on this, especially since we are at the top of the new year. And so, one of the things that I want to kind of clear up is also like some misconceptions of what it is that image consultants do. So many times women just believe that we are shopping in clothes all day long. And truth be told, that is one of the fun and exciting things about working as an image consultant, but that's not all that we do. For me personally, there is a lot of time spent in researching and preparing and things of that sort. And if you have not had an opportunity to work with me, then one of the things that clients typically come to understand once they sign on with me and hire me as their image consulting is that we don't even really get to the clothing part until later on in our sessions, because the reality is this: if you are confused about how to dress, we have to really begin to unpack that a little bit. And you also didn't get to where you are overnight. So we definitely want to make sure that we are taking the necessary steps to unlearn and relearn some things going forward, so that not only the information that I am teaching and providing you with is going to be beneficial in that moment while we are connected, but even long after we are done, I still want you to be able to have the knowledge and the understanding going forward on how to maintain your wardrobe and image solutions that I am going to be providing you. So, with that said, this is something that is done at the very early stages in my consulting process, and it is called a wardrobe assessment. I absolutely love this part. It definitely gives me a better understanding of where and why and how you have gotten to the place that you are in terms of your wardrobe and your image. And so, another really great thing about doing a wardrobe assessment is that you can do this anytime, right? I know that I mentioned that we are at the start of a new year. Maybe you're going to see this video right now at the top of the year. But even if you come across this video at any other time and you just know within yourself that you are definitely in need of some changes when it comes to your wardrobe and image, this wardrobe assessment is going to be applicable at that time as well. So, this is something that I also use for myself. I have been doing this for years. Anytime I am just like, okay, it's time for me to start to, sort through some things or just revamp or enhance my wardrobe. Because the truth is, ladies, you should always be growing and evolving. As women, we should always be growing and evolving, and our wardrobe and image should definitely reflect that, right? So, you know what they say: out with the old, in with the new. And I like to add on to that there's also different ways that you can reinvent something old. So, while I'm going to be sharing these different tips with you all, it's not necessarily that you have to get rid of everything, but just to kind of give you some encouragement that you can keep certain things. So let's get started. Step one is going to be laundry. That's right. You need to wash, dry, and fold your clothes. And you even want to pick up any dry cleaning that you have out there, because you want to take inventory of what you own. And in order for you to take a full inventory, you're going to need to be able to see everything you own, and you're also going to need to try some things on. So, with that said, you definitely also want to put aside some time to do this, right? So, along with you just kind of being where you are for however long and just unlearning and going through the process of getting out of that space, right? One of the things that I also like to tell all of my clients is that building your wardrobe is a marathon, it is not a sprint. You have to take different forms of action over a consistent period of time to get the results that you want and then to maintain them. So I always like to let clients know that you're going to be investing your time, you're going to be investing your financial resources and those sorts of things, which is why a lot of women kind of stay where they are too, because they often feel like, oh, I don't have the money for it. But ultimately, it's not just one thing over the other. There is definitely a combination of different things that you are going to do, either alone or if you decide to partner up with the image consultant to get to those wardrobe and image solutions that you desire. So, after you have laundered all of your clothing, picked up your dry cleaning, the next thing that you're going to do is I want you to create a place for things you're going to keep, donate, trash, and repair. You're ultimately going to create a space where you can create a pile for each of these categories, right? Me specifically, I'll utilize the bed, the couch. You can even put down a clean sheet on the floor and just lay that out and utilize that space as well. And so, while each of these piles are pretty self explanatory, when it comes to the keep pile, this is some of the questions that I want you to ask yourself while you're looking through your clothing pieces. You want to begin to ask yourself, do you like that particular item, right? Have you worn it recently within the past year or 6 months? And even when you think about wearing it recently, you also want to identify why. Maybe, you've lost weight, maybe you've gained weight, maybe you've moved, right? You've moved to a place where you didn't really need that specific type of clothing, if you will. So, based on that answer, then that is going to determine if you should keep it or not. In my early stages as an image consultant, I kind of went by that traditional rule. Well, if you have not worn it within the past 6 months to a year, you should almost get rid of it. But as time grew on, it was me really like contradicting myself, because I'll give you an example. I recently celebrated my birthday, and the dress that I actually wore for my birthday had a tag on it. It was brand new, and I had it in my closet for over a year. So, what I've come to learn and understand just in my own personal experience is that we could see things that absolutely match up with who we are, they complement our body shapes, they keep us in a place of being age appropriate, so to speak, right? All of these principles that I have that I use for myself and clients, it lines up with that. So there really wasn't a reason for me to discard the dress. I actually ended up wearing the dress. So I really kind of try to shy away from telling clients to, get rid of things that they haven't worn within the past 6 months or a year, but rather just coming to some understanding to determine the why. And once you do that, then you can decide if you're going to keep it or if you're going to donate it, especially things that have tags on them, right? Okay. So, with that same thing, if you are able to wear it this year, cool. Keep it, don't get rid of it. The next thing that you want to determine as you are sorting through the clothing and taking full inventory is if something is too big or too small, right? You also want to consider if it helps you to express who you are as a woman today. That's very, very key, right? So, again, depending on how you answer will determine the pile that it goes into. So when it comes to trash, ladies, these are just pieces that you don't want to keep, right? Well, no. Um when it comes to the trash, these are going to be pieces that can't be donated or repaired. You have to excuse me. I'm trying to look at my notes, and the funniest thing earlier today is I was doing like a quick little story on my Instagram, and I started to like squint like this, and I was talking about how I needed to possibly go to the eye doctor because I didn't like how I was squinting. So that's what happened to me just now, and it threw me off track. But anyway, when it comes to trash, these are pieces that cannot be donated or repaired. And when you think about things that are being repaired, you want to focus on pieces that you are going to keep, number one, and if they are worth repairing. And in order for you to determine that, you can think of like a jacket or a great blazer that may be missing a button, right? Where you can just get the button replaced. Maybe you have a great pair of quality denim jeans and maybe the zipper is broken. Maybe you haven't had a chance to get them hemmed, or maybe you might want to get them taken in the waist. Those sorts of pieces are great pieces that you can absolutely repair because they never go out of style. You want to stay away from repairing trendy pieces and just things that are not really going to be in style going forward. Okay, so that's a good indication for how you can identify what you are going to throw away, what you are going to donate, what you are going to repair, so on and so forth. All right. So as you move through this process, I also want to encourage you to stay away from focusing on how much or how little of clothing pieces that you own, because that is not important right now. Even though it's going to be easy for you to see that because everything's going to be laid out in different piles, your closet is going to start to maybe dwindle down, or maybe you're going to be like, man, I got all these clothes everywhere, but I still have so much to take inventory of. Whichever way it goes, please do not focus on that right now. That is not important. Okay. So now that you've taken full inventory, meaning you've went through every clothing piece, right? And I also want to add this because early on I mentioned that you may have to try things on. When it comes to trying things on, those could be those pieces that you haven't worn in the past 6 months or a year or longer, just to see how they look on your body. The other things that you want to try on, maybe just to see how it feels again. If you're unsure, if you're like, okay, I know that I've worn this recently, but I'm still not really sure if I want to keep it, if I want to donate it, so on and so forth. So anything that you are completely unsure about, please make sure you take the time to try it on, okay? Because what I find here is not just the obvious of the fact that, okay, something may not fit, but it may be something that you totally forgot about, because that is possible, right? I have helped so many women, and during this process, even when I did closet organizations hands on, there would be so many clothing pieces of items and stuff like that women are like, oh, I forgot I brought that. I forgot I owned that. I forgot I had that. And so once you try it on, it can definitely just kind of bring you back to why you may have initially brought that clothing piece in the first place. So again, I don't want you to shy away from taking the extra time to try those things on, just to see where they stand, right? So now that you've taken inventory of everything, I want you to immediately put all of the trash items in the trash or in your car, in your garage, so that you can take care of that ASAP. When it comes to the donations, if you don't already have like a specific place that you typically donate to, excuse me, I want you to think about some local churches. There was a church that I used to donate to that had a clothing pantry. You can also check out any local women's shelters, any other organizations that are okay with accepting gently worn clothing. And for those of you that are watching that have a lot of business attire, you should definitely look into your local Dress for Success, which is a great organization. They help women who are re-entering the workforce get their interview, attire ready and stuff like that. And so what I find whenever you are donating clothing and there is a cause behind it, it just really becomes much more easier to, let go and release the clothes. Now, another thing you could do is you could also give your donated gently worn clothing and donate it to a family or friend who would love that certain item that matches their current style and wardrobe. So that's something to consider as well. And I don't really recommend donating undergarments or bathing suits. Some of you may be saying, I can't even believe you're saying that, but I just thought that I would put that out there because that is just how I look at it. I think that those things should absolutely go in the trash. Okay. So after you have, taking care of your trash pile, taking care of your donation pile, now we're going to focus back on the pile of things that you are keeping. And so you want to start to categorize each clothing piece by putting all of your tops together, all of your bottoms, your dresses. You just want to categorize everything with itself, and so on and so forth. After you have categorized everything to its type, depending on where you live, I want you to now separate your wardrobe according to the seasons, okay? So I am somewhere where we get 4 seasons. And so the goal is to have all of your fall and winter pieces together and all of your spring and summer pieces together. Excuse me. So once you have everything sorted into its kind and its season, now it is time to store everything back. You're going to do this by creating your very own customized organizational system. Now, I like California Closets, all of the fancy schmancy systems. However, everybody does not have that and everybody does not need that, okay? And so with that being said, this is how you are going to create your own personal customized organization system. Let's just say, for example, you have one closet. Depending on the size of that closet, if you are able to fit your clothing pieces inside for both seasons, you want to go ahead and do that, right? So you can use the side of the closet that you really don't have as much access or visibility to store your off-season pieces, while using the other side of your closet that you do have the most access to and visibility to store your current season, okay? If you have multiple closets, then you can actually use one closet for each. So if you have 2 closets, you could say, okay, this closet is specifically going to store my off-season pieces, while this is going to store my current season. But of course, when the season changes, you don't have to really shift or move everything around. You would just be going to that particular closet during that time and season. Now, for my ladies who have one closet that is not as large in size, I would recommend you using that specific closet only just to store the current season that you are in, and completely removing all of your off-season clothing, storing them in Tupperware bins, out of sight, out of mind. And you can even also purchase some other organizational things that can slide under your bed easily. You just really want to get it out of the way so that you can just focus on and have access to the wardrobe for that current season. Okay. Another tip here that I wanted to share, because I deal with a lot of women who have professional and personal wardrobes. And so, aside from just separating your wardrobe in seasons, if you are someone that identifies with that, you can definitely go ahead and separate it for that as well. I had a client who is an executive, and of course, during the daytime, she was very much suited and booted. But when she's not working, she does prefer those more coordinated and casual looks. And so she has her professional wardrobe in one spot and her personal wardrobe in another spot. So if you are able to do something like that, then you should definitely handle that as well. And so when it comes to just maximizing your dresser drawers, I want you to assign a drawer for everything. So you could have your undergarments drawer, you could have tops, those sorts of things. And I also want to recommend that you do a really quick search on things that can be folded versus things that need to be hung up. You want to be able to get a return on investment with your clothing. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are not doing that, not only because they're not investing properly in their clothing by getting quality, but their clothing is just really stored improperly. So do a really quick search for that. Really quickly, jeans can be hung up, anything knitted like sweaters and stuff like that, those things can be folded. A lot of times people just hang everything up and they're not realizing that they're stretching out their clothes, or a lot of people just fold everything and not realizing that that's not the proper way to store that either. So back to the dresser drawers. You may even need to just, depending on how many you have available, you could even just take one drawer for your undergarments. You can put your bras to the left, you can put your socks in the middle, and you can put your underwear to the right. You can just use one drawer specifically for that. Or if you have a lot of drawer space, you can again assign one for each specific thing. It just all depends on the type of space that you have for you to utilize. So once you've done your clothes, you can also rinse and repeat this process. Like I said, 3 months from now, seasonal, 6 months from now, every year. But you can also take this same process and repeat it when it comes to your shoes and your accessories, which I also highly recommend. So, doing this wardrobe assessment is designed to one, help you to get rid of things you don't need and get organized so that you can have more efficiency when it comes to you getting dressed. Because there is nothing like going to your closet and getting that dress or getting those jeans or going to that dresser drawer and picking out your underclothes for the day. It definitely just helps you to have much more seamless mornings or whenever you're getting dressed, and it just keeps down the level of stress and frustration around getting dressed. The second thing that this wardrobe assessment does is, based off everything that you have left over, now you need to determine if what you have is going to help you to dress for and live the life that you have right now. Okay. So, not 6 months from now, not another year from now. You want to identify if what you have left over is going to help you to get dressed and live your life right now. And this is where I'm going to encourage you to make a decision if it does not. Because if you need help, I encourage you to most definitely outsource and get the help that you need. If you want my assistance with that, you can visit my website, which is www.valenciaholland.com, to schedule your consultation so that we can have a conversation about what's going on and ultimately how to help you get the wardrobe and image solutions that you desire. So that's all for now, ladies. I will see you in my next video. Bye.